Hi there guys, Tony here from Cyberman Props. Very excited today to be bringing you our first prop tutorial video. We've got lots of videos planned, lots of stuff to show you which we're really excited about. We hope you will be too. Hope you like, we hope you subscribe and enjoy what we're going to be bringing you. We've planned lots of videos, but the big problem was which one do we do to you first? Well, for me there was only one answer, and that was the classic Cyberman head build. I built this helmet from EVA foam. It's nice, it's lightweight, it's a little bit more robust than a fiberglass one if you want it for cosplay. It's very cheap and easy to make, you know, and a lot better, I feel, for cosplay than trying to wear a fiberglass one. For those of you that are unaware, EVA foam is this matting that you can get for your workshop or playroom. You get them in lots of different colours. That's 10 mils, but you can also get it in a 5 mil roll foam like this one. This is what I used for this build. The 5 mil was a little bit easier just to bend, to mould and to shape than the 10 mil for this project. So basically I'll run through with you now how we did this project. I made a template from brown paper first. I cut that template out and I laid it down on my sheet of foam. We used little pins to hold it into place, and then we drew out the template and cut them all out. It's always handy to have extra foam. Don't just always have extras there because you will make mistakes. It is easy to do. You can obviously tell by the picture there, there's a few little bits there in different colour foam because a few mistakes were made. Now I wanted to start with the ear sections. So I took the side panel, and obviously I wanted to bevel the edges to make the angle right for the side bits. I first went round and I marked 5 mil in from the edge, and then realised that wasn't going to give me quite the right edging that I was going to require. So I then came in halfway, 2.5 mil from the edges, marked that all the way around, and then with a sharp knife cut it out from corner to edge to give me the beveled edging. I then obviously stuck the main section in the middle while I could still add pressure to it, and then we started wrapping the side bit round to create the ear sections. Once that was done, I started from the top first, working my way down. So I made the top section. This was just two little side pieces with the curve and a rectangular section which I curved over in the middle. I then wanted to connect the ear sections, but obviously because we no longer have a straight edge on this eye because it's out at an angle, I had to cut a straight edge in for them to fit. I did that on both of them, glued them in, and then left both bits hanging from this main section to build from. I then did the forehead section, so we glued that in down the side first, very neatly, and then on the opposite side to get it in place, and then the top section just moved in, so that was nice and secure. I then took some scrap pieces of foam. This was left over from the main sheet of foam that we cut out, and I added an extra piece on the inside edge across the front of the face. This is simply because each section we're going to add is going to go behind the previous section and come forward. So obviously I needed a little bit more than the 5 mils there to be able to do that. So I took the eye section, I used my heat gun, heated the foam and gave it a little bend, and then we decided to put that in place, so that went behind the forehead section and slowly came forward. We did it on both sides and then obviously glued it to the forehead section. I didn't want to finish off the rest of the face, so I wanted to still be able to get my hand inside to complete the rest of the work. So I then started on the back. We made a cut in the back, a V cut out of it, and then glued it together to give me the curve. I wasn't quite happy with the curve, so I used my heat gun again and one of my daughter's toy balls to get a nice curve in there that I was happy with. And then we started gluing in the back section. So we glued that in the same as we've done the fronts all the way round. But as we got to the bottom section, I went from the inside edge to the outside edge. This was to give me a flaring bit as it came round for the neck. So we just did that ever so gradually as we got to the bottom. So then that was on the outside. And obviously we did that both sides, and then I glued the top section in as well to seal that off. So while I could still get my hand inside, we did the section across the top of the forehead. That again was another scrap piece of foam, just in a long strip, cut in all the way around to seal that in, and then just a large section just to seal the bottom off. So then I could finish off the face. So I took the next part, I used my daughter's toy ball again and my heat gun, and we moulded it one way and then the next way for the the neck pieces to stick out. That was then put in again in exactly the same place. It went from under the eye section and then worked its way forward. And then the same with the backs. As we came round to the bottom, we flared it onto the outside edge to meet the back of the neck section. I then did the middle neck section. I used the heat gun and bent it one way from top to bottom, knowing that when it was connected to the other bits from side to side, it would give the correct angle we needed for the neck. The mouth section was the piece that was originally cut out for the mouth section. We heated that again over the ball, and that stretched it a little bit, so made it a little bit bigger, and then we just glued that in from the inside to fill in the mouth. Then to fill in all the little details of the rough edges, I used a filler. This was a latex based filler. The reason I used that one was I could fill it in. It would have a small amount of give because of the latex base in it, so it would move with the foam, but would also enable me to be able to sand it down to get a nice smooth edging on that. So once that was all done, the main part of the helmet was finished, I could start on all the detailing. So I did the top section first, I made that bit up, added all the details to that first, so I didn't have to fiddle around trying to get my fingers in to get the sections in, and then glued that into place. I glued in the side bits for the handles. All the pips for around the neck, they were all cut out of foam and angle and glued in. It was at this point I realised when I was about to add the detailing on the ear sections that we'd missed something. Each part should have a little recess just here where tubes go in, and I hadn't cut them. But it was easily enough done. I marked it out with a pen, used a sharp knife to cut them out, and then with a small triangular piece of foam we stuck that in behind to add the little recess in. And then adding the details like the eyebrows, that again was the scrap pieces of foam. I never throw, once I've cut it all out from the main piece of foam, I keep all the pieces because they'll come in handy. We added that, and then it was starting to add in the detailing around the ear pit sections. Now for this I managed to get hold of a 2.5mm foam, so it was a lot thinner, and I managed to cut it in 5mm strips to add round. If you can't get 2.5mm foam, the easy option is to use the 5mm foam and cut it in 2.5mm sections and then turn it on its side. It's a little bit tricky to try and cut 2.5mm strips off of it, but if you can't get 2.5mm foam, then that is going to be the easier option for doing that. So we did all the sections, did it all the way around, nice and gradually. It is a very long and tasked job to get that bit done, but does come off really good once it's finished. Now the next step was to coat the head. I went all the way around it with the heat gun, just ever so slightly, just to closing any pores or anything on the outside of the foam. I then used a PVA coat. I made up 2 mixes of PVA in a pot. One I added a small amount of blue poster paint to, and the other one I added a small amount of red poster paint. The reason for this was it gives the poster paint a slight tint, so once you put it on and it's dried and you're putting on the next coat, you can see where you've been with one coat compared to the next. So you alternate between the red and the blue. Obviously I put a small amount of red in with the PVA and it kind of came out a bit pink. That didn't really matter because obviously it was going to be spray painted over the top of that anyway. So we coated that. It took about 8 coats in all, so it had 4 coats of red and 4 coats of blue, just to seal it all in. Now that is quite a long job because you have to do a coat per day, so it took at least 8 days to get that bit finished. So while I was doing that, once it had a coat done and that was drying, I moved on to the handle sections. These were simply just some PVC pipe that were cut to length, some bends that were put on. I then added some more foam for the top and the bottom to add the detailing. Now if you wish, once you've finished this, you can add the handles to it and spray it all silver for a standard Cyberman. Obviously I was going for a Cyber Leader, so I wanted the handles to be a different colour, so I sprayed them black, and then I used a plumber's aluminium tape to add the detailing of the silver bits around it. You can try and mask this off and spray paint them silver if you wish. I just found it easier just to use the tape. You could just wrap them around. It saves the hassle of trying to mask bits off and then lose bits of paint. So once everything was ready to be spray painted, I basically then used a plastic primer, sprayed over the top of that. You know, you may be asking why have I gone through all the hassle of doing the PVA coats to then use a plastic primer over the top. This is just simply for belt and braces. I've covered it all with the PVA. You can spray paint it silver directly then if you wish. I just used the primer just to basically to make the silver paint take a little bit better, and just the primer basically just fills in any little bits and pieces that you may have missed with the PVA, and just make a slightly better finish. So it was sprayed with primer. It was then sprayed with a metallic silver plastic coat paint. This takes a lot better onto the plastic primer and the PVA. And because I've done the PVA and the primer, this literally only took 2 coats very quickly of the plastic coat, and that job was done within a day. So once that was done, I glued on the ear sections. We then added some mesh for behind the ears, and the job was pretty much ready to go. We added some piping for the bits around the ears, and that was all good to go. So there you have it. In total, we probably spent on this build about £30 altogether. It is a very cheap build. Obviously, there are some differences between this and a fiberglass one, but if you're doing cosplay, it's much lighter. If you drop it, it's not going to break, it's not going to crack like a fiberglass one. It's going to be much easier to repair. And we just found it a lot easier, a lot cheaper to build, much more fun to build yourself. Now, you may have noticed that most of the helmets have a section on the back here to take out for you to be able to get your head in. My original plan was to build the helmet all in one and then cut the plate out to be able to get the head in. As we got part there, the foam does have a little bit of give to it. We discovered that you can actually get it over your head sideways, put it on and then twist it on, and the helmet will fit without cutting into the back. So it was all done in one piece. So there we are. I hope you enjoyed that build. I hope I haven't rabbited too fast for you. Please subscribe, please like. We are going to be doing lots more prop videos. Please leave your comments below. Any props you'd like to see us build. You know, always wondered, how do you do that? We'd love to be able to show you. We'd love lots of feedback from yourselves. You can leave comments below. You can email me here, or you can contact us on our Facebook page here. Like I say, lots more to come. Hope you like, and I look forward to speaking to you all again soon.